Hello everybody and welcome to the Whiskey Dictionary, where I do the research to try to teach you a little something about what you're drinking. Tonight I'm going to be revisiting Compass Box and talking about one of their blended malt Scotch whiskies called Oak Cross. So let's get started. If you'd like to know more about Compass Box as an actual company, then please check out my previous video on the Peat Monster, but forgive the bad acting. It was my first attempt at a Halloween episode and not great. So anyway, the thing that you need to know about Compass Box is that they are not a distillery. They are a place that blends whiskeys. And this guy named John Glasser, he's, in my opinion, kind of a genius. You know, I've never had a Compass Box whiskey that I didn't love. So actually to that fact, if you love a Compass Box whiskey, or actually even if you hate one, recommend it down in the comments to me below. I'm kind of looking for some help picking my next one to review. So the thing to know about this whiskey is that it is comprised of 3 different Highland Scotches, and each one takes its time. You know, it ages at its respective distilleries for 10 to 12 years, and then comes over to Compass Box, where they'll join them all together in a barrel and basically let it sit for a little bit. And then about 12 months or so before it actually is bottled, they'll take 40% of that out and they'll put it into this brand new barrel. And now this is where it gets its name, Oak Cross. Basically the sides of the barrel are American oak, so think like a bourbon. And then the tops are, or the heads are French oak. And so now you've got your cross. Now the 3 different whiskeys that they pick for this blend were chosen for their fruitiness, their sweetness, and then one of them they refer to as like its weight, but basically it's like robust. It kind of brings the other 2 together. And basically they end up bringing all that whiskey back together after, you know, a little while of finishing, and that's ultimately what you're drinking. So let's go into the nosing and the tasting. All right, let's break into this thing because it's been far too long. And while I'm pouring, let me tell you a little story. So whenever I do one of these episodes, I do a decent amount of research on it. And I hope that comes across. But typically when I say research, I just mean sitting around and drinking. But in this case, I was actually contacting Compass Box and just kind of asking them a few questions, mostly for things that maybe might not be on their website or around the internet or whatever. But I was talking to this woman named Lucy, and Lucy is a salesperson, but I asked her, you know, is there anything cool about this whiskey that I might not be able to find? And she said that it's actually one of hers and a couple of other very high up people in the company's favorite expressions. So this should really tell you whether this is going to be any good or not. So with that, let's go into the nosing. So the first thing that you really notice is that it's extremely light. I mean, it's as light as it looks, you know, it's got a little bit of salt to it. But one thing that I picked up here, which actually is funny because I didn't put it in my notes, I smell like a white grapes almost. Like it's just really light fruit. And so that should kind of give you an idea what you're in for. All right, let's go into the tasting because it's long overdue. Cheers. So the first thing that you're going to notice is that it's immediately sweet and then spicy, and it really hits you just a little bit in the throat with that spice. Think of like a bourbon with a slightly higher rye content, and that you're thinking in the right ballpark, but just a little bit like lighter, you know. So you've got sweet and spicy, and then you've got a little bit of vanilla and just fruit. You know, it's exactly what I described earlier. It's sweet and fruity, and then something's tying it all together. So it's a little bit complex, which is just awesome. So I would absolutely recommend that you get this whiskey. I actually got it as a gift, but as far as Compass Box goes, it's one of the cheaper ones. So I think it's about $60, maybe $70. So yeah, I would pick this up. And actually, cool thing, so if you'll allow me to read from my phone for a second, I had a couple people that watched the channel actually buy this bottle over the last couple weeks because, you know, let me back up for a sec. I have a Discord channel, which is like a chat room, and you can use it from your phone, you can use it from your computer, you can use it whatever. If you check in the description of this video, you'll find the link to it, but you should absolutely come by and chat with us. You know, there's a few people in there and we'd always like to have more. But anyway, I was talking about this, and actually I did a live stream like a week ago, and was talking about this as well. So some people bought this whiskey and they decided to have it along with me this week. And this guy, Ashton, he actually wanted to give his take on it. He says, it's extremely tasty, and it's easy to pick out the deeper complexities for someone newer to Scotch. It's an excellent choice for when you want to hit your harder liquor without getting too serious. I don't know about the harder liquor part, but I certainly agree with his sentiment. You know, this is a good whiskey, and certainly a good starter whiskey if you really wanted to introduce somebody to what a Scotch could be. And you know, Highland Scotches, just in my personal opinion, love them. They're always really light and sweet. So anyway, thank you, Ashton. That was awesome. Anyway, so that does it for this episode. I want to tell you that my next episode is going to be on Crown Royal, just the run-of-the-mill Crown Royal that you buy, a little purple bag, all that stuff. So if you'd like to join me for my next video, which, one more thing, I'm also going to be changing my schedule. So up until now, for the last like year and a half, I've done the 1st and the 15th of every month. And this time I'm going to be switching to the 1st and 3rd Fridays of every month. Just long story short, I've got a lot more subscribers now, and I'm actually really missing out on a lot of views by releasing on the 1st and the 15th, because it could be any day of the week. So I'm going to switch my release dates to Fridays, and hopefully that actually works a little better for you anyway. I mean, I don't know about you, I totally will have a drink during the week, but not everybody will. So Friday makes a little bit more sense. Anyway, that does it for this episode of the Whiskey Dictionary. Thank you very much for joining me, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Cheers.